Like, come on. Can you even be mad at Ufotable's tax evasion when they're pumping out shit like this? So I know I've been slacking in the video department lately, but that can fuck right off, because what in the fuck was this episode? Like, if you aren't aware, I'm a manga reader, so I knew very well the events that were going to take place this episode. And even with that, I was absolutely speechless by the end of it. Largely in part due to the fact that I couldn't stop screaming towards the end of the episode, but that's besides the point. This episode just does everything an anime should when it looks to adapt a manga or any sort of material. It takes advantage of everything that makes anime as a medium amazing, in my opinion. Whether it be animation, music, voice acting, or what have you, it uses it to make an already strong manga series like Kimetsu no Yaiba and makes it even better. So I usually talk about how an episode did at adapting the source material during the first half of the discussion. But honestly, words cannot describe how amazing of an adaptation this episode was. Maybe if I tell you that this shit was trending on Twitter even hours after the episode aired. Maybe if I tell you that Gotage Koyoharu, the mangaka herself, cried several times while watching the episode. Maybe then that'll give you an idea as to not only how much justice this episode did to the chapters it did cover, but also the respect the staff working on this episode had and previous staff have had for the source material. Honestly, I can't even imagine being a mangaka and seeing my work adapted as beautifully as this. But speaking of chapters that this episode covered, those would in fact be chapters 38 to 40. Chapter 38, titled Real and Fake, Chapter 39, titled Life Passing Before One's Eyes, and Chapter 40, titled Hinokami. Now, as I mentioned before, I've been lacking in the video department recently, so since I last made a video on Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the anime has covered all of Volume 4 and is now, with Episode 19, 2/3 of its way through Volume 5. Now obviously the animation this episode and the overall tone of the final minutes of the episode were absolutely astounding. I love the way they adapted the 10th form of water breathing as well as Ri's demon art technique. But there was a lot more to this episode than just the final fights. The way the flashback scene was handled was absolutely beautiful as well. The mosaic of Tanjiro's memories was really nice, and I also like the fact that the reasoning as to why one's life flashes right before their eyes before dying was something that was established earlier on in the episode, rather than in that very moment that Tanjiro is close to death like it was in the manga. Also, the animation of Tanjiro's father dancing was beautiful. I honestly couldn't tell if it was just really good CGI or if those sequences in particular were just rotoscoped. And the episode as a whole really was just filled to the brim with amazing voice acting. Not only did Kito Akari do her first bit of voice acting as Demon Nezuko, I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but Hanae Natsuki, who is personally one of my favorite voice actors, came in and fucking killed it as Tanjiro. I don't know, like I said, this episode just took the manga and pumped it up to 1000%. The music hit, the animation was stellar, and literally every panel that you can find in the manga and matched to the anime does the source material justice. This was a brilliant episode that not only managed to stun damn near every person who has read the Kimetsu no Yaiba manga, but also, and most importantly I think, managed to introduce a lot of people to a new series that they otherwise wouldn't have gotten into. And that's not just due to how the episode looked or sounded, though I'm sure that was a big reason for it, but the episode itself also carried an emotional weight. Specifically when Tanjiro and Ri have their discussion on bonds and what a bond is supposed to represent. When Rui speaks about bonds, it almost feels like he has a very simple approach to them, Dad and mom protect the children, the older siblings protect the younger ones, and so on and so on. It's a very logical approach, yes, but if you in your life have a bond with someone else that's strong enough, you'll know that logic is thrown out the window immediately when it comes to those people you share those types of bonds with. There's no older sibling, younger sibling, mom or dad. All there is concern for that person, a desire for them to do and be well. Personally, in my life, my father has relied on me multiple times for emotional support, as have I on my younger siblings. And I think from RUI's perspective on things, there's no room for this. It's why nobody interfered when Demon Spider Dad was beating Demon Spider Mom, because the only person above Mom in this hierarchy is Dad. So Mom can't rely on anybody else to help, because in theory, she should be able to help herself. And it's this belief that makes RUI's bonds so weak. Relying on somebody below you doesn't make the bond weaker, it makes it stronger, but RUI can't understand that. It's why he was so enthralled with Nezuko. In addition to Nezuko being a demon and Tanjiro being a human, Nezuko, a younger sister, being willing to put her life on the line for Tanjiro, her older brother, is something unheard of by RUI. And maybe this is due to him now being a demon and possibly not remembering the bonds he had when he was a human, but bonds as strong as the ones that Nezuko and Tanjiro have cannot be restrained by something like logic. On the contrary, actually, the strength of the bond between Nezuko and Tanjiro make it so logic and all of these restraints that RUI had on his bonds can be surpassed. And it's the reason why these two siblings will continue growing, continue getting stronger, and continue forming bonds with the people around them. But hey, as always, these are my thoughts, and I am curious to hear yours. If you are in anime only, let me know your thoughts on this episode and any predictions you may have. What was your reaction to the insane animation and events we saw this episode? And what's your take on bonds? And also, now that we have a bit more of a backstory on Tanjiro, I'm curious to see if you have any new theories. And if you're a manga reader, let me know how you felt Ufotable adapted this episode, and what parts do you think they could have done a better job with, if any. And feel free to discuss anything I forgot to mention in the comments below. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, it helps the channel out a lot. Feel free to follow me on Twitter, link will be in the description. And of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel and make sure to hit that bell. That way you make sure you don't miss a video and can keep on watching Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, and many other series with me. And with that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.